Welcome to exercise day. We are excited, Laura and I, are to talk about exercise, the benefits of exercise. I thought it'd be fun just to be out for a walk as you listen to this, to walk in place at home, or to take this, put me in your ears and just go for a walk and listen. Okay, so that's totally up to you. If you'd like to do it, it'd just be something fun rather than sitting down listening to this. I have this analogy that I use with my patients, and I'm going to use it today. And tell me if this makes sense to you. And Laura, anytime, chime on in, obviously, right? Um,
Sure.
but this is to help us see somewhat of the kind of the role of saved energy on our bodies. Let me just jump into the analogy and I'll explain how it all fits together after, okay? So imagine a car that is, it wants to drive and it never wants to run out of gas. So what it does is it puts gas tanks on the top of its roof and then straps it to the roof and hangs it off onto the side. And every time it goes by a gas station, it will just fill up these gas tanks and make sure it has it. Okay. So, the first question I'd ask is that car going to be able to go very fast? Probably not. A lot of wind resistance, right? Um, and is it going to cause maybe some problems like rubbing against the paint and the windows and everything, right? Would it ever run out of gas? No, it would have plenty, right? But that's not really the way that cars are made to be. So those gas tanks are essentially stored energy. And how does our body store energy? As fat. Okay. And there's a lot of places you can store fat, but usually there's a lot on the skin fold. You can, grab your stomach or the back of your arms or your legs, and you can feel the amount of stored gas tanks you have. And it's not bad. It just is. It just is stored energy. Random fact, there was an individual that actually went without food for over 1 full year, stayed alive, because I believe that he was able to use the stored energy that he had on his body. He lost, now I'm losing the number. I want to say it was 261 pounds, but I think it was in the 100 range. I will get that specific number for you. But the point being is an individual, when they don't use the stored energy, it's stored. When they do, then it leaves. One of exercise is like you're using that. Just like us, we're actually going to be using that stored energy. Does that make sense? All right. So that was the first analogy. And now the second thing that I'm excited to share today is that when we are going to move and need energy, our body first goes to the energy inside our intestines and in our blood. So as you test your blood sugar after a meal, maybe 2 hours after a meal, you'll notice it's high, right? Because we've just eaten a lot of energy. And the body is like, hey, if if we've got it, we could use it, but we've got to use it, right? So when we're sitting down after a meal, it's going to store that energy. If we walk after a meal, it's going to use that energy from our blood. Okay, I said in our intestines, but I meant blood is the first primary source. Why? Because it's literally like a gas tank being delivered right to your house. Saying, hey, here's the gas. Do you want it? Do you want to go for a little ride? Say, absolutely. Use it up and go. So we're going to talk about two different types of exercise, and I'm going to make my way back to my house now. Thank you for walking back and forth with me. I walked in this little alleyway because there was less wind, so I went back and forth. So two types of exercise. Well, I should ask, Laura, do you have any additions or thoughts? Did that analogy make sense?
Yes, totally.
So I'm going to flip
Yes.
around my camera real quick and going to show you all a couple exercises here as we talk about anaerobic and aerobic exercise. So I've got a YouTube video on this. You're welcome to watch it. I can show it in the links below. But basically, aerobic is where you're breathing and using air combined with sugar to give you energy. Okay. I'm not going to get into the science of it because there's like how much energy and ATP, adenosine triphosphate, all that stuff. But the other thing is when we use sugar and not air, it's called anaerobic exercise. And it takes kind of a lot more sugar to produce the same amount of energy. Okay. So basically, what we can do is We do exercises that require a lot of air, and that's different than anaerobic. There's even muscle fibers and colors of muscle fibers that do aerobic exercise versus anaerobic. Example, turkey, like Thanksgiving's coming up. When you eat Thanksgiving turkey, there's white meat and red meat. That white meat is for anaerobic. I'm on this side, anaerobic or without oxygen, and it's for quick, explosive movements. Whereas the dark meat or the red fibers are for the slow, rhythmic, using oxygen, long duration stuff. Okay. So, anyway, it's a really cool science. But when I was on a walk, you can guess what I was using, right? It's breathing, I was talking, aerobic. It's usually a little easier. Anaerobic would be things where I burn. So, I mean, like if I were to jump up here and just start doing pull-ups, and you'd start to feel like the burn, and all of a sudden it's the anaerobic stuff going on. Okay. You could also do like squat, or even better yet, squat jumps. If you're down and you explode up like this, you're doing anaerobic. So why am I teaching that? I'm teaching it because there's options. And there's many ways to think about this, but what I'll share right now is aerobic with oxygen. Those are really helpful to bring the blood sugar down and get it stable again. Okay. After meals, even just like 5 to 15 minutes of anaerobic easy movement can bring that blood sugar back down. Okay. It's easier a little bit on the joints. It's easier to get into. See, I'm out of breath, right? My body's trying to catch up. But anyway, and then aerobic is also like very helpful for heart health. There's a lot we could go into that. Anaerobic, why did I teach that? Because it builds muscle. Why do we want to build muscle? Because that's like your engine of your car. What cars use more gas? Bigger engines, right? Think of those huge old diesels or 4-liter cars or whatever. I'm not very good with cars, so maybe I should stop talking. I don't know what I'm talking about with liters, but the bigger engines require more gas to move that car. Therefore, if we do anaerobic without oxygen exercise, it will then build muscles. And I wouldn't worry too much about like bulking and stuff. Like, I think that's like, you worry about that once you get there. I don't think it should stop you from doing exercises. But you build your muscles so that they can use up the energy a little more efficiently. And it's really cool. You can actually, there's studies that muscle even can continually use energy, even hours to even like multiple hours or a day after exercise. Okay. You may notice that if you go for a really good workout or have a really strong workout, that next day you might even still be hungry. It's because your body's like, all right, let's build back these muscles. Let's get them big. Let's, anyway, use up the energy. So, Laura, I think it'd be fantastic if you had any
Yeah.
questions or follow up. I know there was a little bit of science in there, but do you
Yeah.
want to,
Yeah.
reword
I would
anything
say,
or?
no, I think you did a great job explaining it. And yeah, I think a common question that I have, especially from people that are in maybe the beginner stage, just starting to exercise,
Mm-hmm.
and they always ask you, well, what works? What works? And my answer is always, what works is something that you like
Mm-hmm.
and something that is accessible. So, although, yes, getting a good cardio, getting some anaerobic and aerobic exercise, dynamic, different types of movement, I would say from what I've experienced with people, it's finding something too that you love, something that you enjoy doing is always
Mm-hmm.
usually a conversation comes up about that. So making sure it's something too that you like and that you feel confident in trying. It might be a little, iffy at first, but it'll get there. So for the
And
beginner
just,
exerciser,
and remembering from that growth mindset we talked about
yeah,
on Tuesday is it's all an experiment. Like there's no
right,
failure. It's like, I'm going to experiment walking for 20 minutes. I haven't done that for a while, or anyway.
hmm,
And then if I could add another little strategy
yeah,
there is friends. I mean,
hmm,
whoa, like you just got back from teaching a fitness course. I went on a bike ride with my family this morning. It's like there's this oxytocin or hormone release when you're exercising with someone else that strengthens bonds. And that can even happen with a short little text or telling you someone you're going to go exercise and following up with them. So some of the people I work with, they just say, you know what, I have to be with someone or I don't exercise, and they've kind of found their little golden ticket that helps them remember, be accountable, and get something done as long as they can get with someone else. So that's another strategy.
Mhm.
So let's
Yes.
go. I'm going to go to my little recording studio and I have one more little thought to share. So let's go. We're going to discuss is, there we go, is a metabolic expenditure. Okay. Now, the reason here, let me just tell you like the whole purpose of sharing this. The whole purpose is it all counts. That's it. That's like the biggest reason I'm sharing this is I'm going to go here. Just one second. Okay. And you still hear me and stuff?
Yeah.
It all counts. So watch this. They have something called a metabolic expenditure. They call it a MET. And this is basically how much gas tanks or how much gas it takes to, got this. There's that glare, so I think it's hard to see. Okay. This is how much gas it takes to perform an activity. Okay. So check this out. There are household chores that require metabolic expenditures. And a few of those that I'm going to share today are like cleaning and straightening up a room. Okay. So I'll say that's 2.5. Okay. 2.5, 2.5 METs is kind of just how we word it. Then if you get to scrubbing the floor, so floor scrub, is that too small?
I could see it. Yeah, I could see it.
I can be bigger. Draw
Maybe a
pictures,
little
but
bigger. Yeah,
I
that's
got the
fine.
next one bigger. Okay. And then the next one is like gardening. So gardening is up to 4. Okay. So, sometimes we're like, oh, I need to go and like go for a walk, or I need to go to the gym. Let's compare these to the gym stuff. All right. So we've got salsa or swing dancing. Okay. So we'll say swing dance, that is 4.0. So that's equal to gardening. Okay. That's kind of good news for some people. Next, walking uphill. I'm just going to draw this up like this. That is 5.3. Okay. Let's just get a couple more so you can kind of see it. There we go. You know what that's compared to? Mowing. Mowing is 5.0. All right. Which kind of makes sense because it's very similar. Next, I'm going to say biking. That's one of my favorite forms of exercise. And we're about done here with the household chores. We're now going to be breaking off a little bit. Biking is 8, and then running or biking fast, or even rowing. So we could say row or run, or biking fast. That's all the way up to 11 to 12. Okay. So you can see basically it all counts. We use up more gas, more energy as we do a few of these other things. Yet these things are great as well. So bottom line, exercise helps in so many ways for diabetes. One, it gets your blood sugar back down after a meal by doing simple things around 4 metabolic expenditure units or even 2.
I think of even doing dishes. I'm like, hey, this is actually helping me as I do dishes because sometimes there's a lot of dishes after. Second, we build muscle. We're able to use our energy more efficiently and even kind of without even exercising sometimes. It just takes energy to keep muscles viable. Um, Next is the last thing I'm going to share that's kind of tying it all together. One of the causes of type 2 diabetes is your fat accumulation around your pancreas or inside your pancreas. They found that fat around the pancreas or inside the pancreas actually starts killing off the cells that make insulin. So as we use exercise to use up the gas cans that are on us and in our pancreas, it starts to preserve and save the rest of the pancreas that we need. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense, Taylor? Any additions
Yeah.
or thoughts?
So how much should I be exercising?
Great question. Great question. Um, there are so many benefits of it that it depends on what kind of benefit you're going for. And my first thought is yes. How much should you go for? Yes, you go for exercise. If you're not doing any, to be able to even just go for a walk after dinner is a huge accomplishment. And I tell that to my patients, I tell that to my friends. It's like even something counts. Okay. There's benefits of, so the American Heart Association says 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week is helpful for heart health. But what they don't say is that that study they derived that from actually shows that if you exercise 300 minutes a week, you get almost double the benefit. But they said, listen, we can't tell people to exercise 300 minutes. They're doing like 20 minutes in America. So they say that 150 as kind of a benchmark, but you can even get additional benefits by even doing more from that.
Mhm.
If you don't want to do, we're going to go back to 150 minutes. If you don't want to do 150 minutes, they said 75 minutes of vigorous is also helpful.
Mhm.
So I do think this gets into a whole nother realm of like, if you do certain things, studies show that these are the benefits for an individual to help reverse type 2 diabetes, which is what I think, like, that's what we're going for right here. That's the goal. The goal would be to get up to the 150 to even the 300 minutes per week and to add strength training or that anaerobic exercise, usually strength training to the regimen as well. And that would be performed probably most days of the week, 20 to 30 minutes. And I would get specific studies to back that up to share that. And the next thing, that's like formal exercise. The next thing would be to actually be um, incorporating movement into your daily activities as well. Where it's like, I choose to take the stairs than the elevator. I choose to, you know, walk to my neighbors as opposed to drive. I choose to park farther away. That one always gets me because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to park far away. I drive a car and I want to park close, but you could do that, I guess. So park far away and then walk to the grocery store. Um, there's a walking during a lunch break. Uh, that should also be a part of a lifestyle of someone that has actually working towards and achieving diabetes reversal.
Okay, good. So it sounds like just getting active. Yes, there are some guidelines and parameters, but maybe not, don't get too hung up on that, but let's just start moving.
Start moving, but I did share some
Yeah. Yes.
specific guidelines though, which I think we would
Yeah.
get to.
Those are great. Yeah, those are great. Yeah, I think that's very helpful advice. So I like it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or thoughts from today's learning opportunity?
Um, I don't know. I think, I think this is all really helpful. There's so many options here for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
there are tons of resources too, in thinking of like your local community, where to turn to. I know I
Mm-hmm.
I teach fitness classes at the YMCA. I know there's a lot of YMCA's around here. So community centers, park districts, are places to look for if you're looking for some more structured or structured activity, or led by a group fitness instructor or even a personal trainer too. But I think a lot of
Right.
community centers have that.
Right. And I've got a lot of resources. I mean, I did exercise science in undergrad,
Mhm.
which is all about exercise stuff. And I do have a lot of resources with like health coaches that, or excuse me,
Yeah.
personal trainers that teach specific exercise stuff. And even YouTube has some awesome diabetes exercises that are helpful to look up. If you're interested in those, let me know, and I can link those in this, as this will be a YouTube video. I can link that in the YouTube video. Just comment through the app that we use, or just message me directly, and I'll get those to you, those resources. And it's like Laura said, and I've said, just find one that you're willing to try, and experimenting. Then let's try it. I recommend going for a free version if there is one. Try it out before you actually buy it. But any other resource ideas that you have, Laura?
I'm trying to, I feel like there's a good app, and I don't know for sure. I could check on this and see if it's used, if it's, I'm not sure if it's free
Sure.
or not, but Fitness Blender
Never heard of
is
that.
just a place to go to get just ideas quick. Yeah, Fitness Blender, just if you want to try if you're an intro to
Really?
exercise, like what are some of the basic exercises, like what is a squat, how do you do a squat, and you could put
Nice.
together different exercises. So if you want to see a demonstration and get it explained to you, that's just an app that I've referred clients to before that are wanting to get more
Nice.
familiar. And again, go to your library. I get books all the time. Go to your library, look in the exercise section.
Hmm.
I know I have some books too that show just pictures. If you're
Right.
a visual person, you want to see some photos of like different exercises for different major like muscle groups. I would say the library is a great resource to start doing your research about it.
Great
So
idea. Great
yeah,
idea.
it's your body, and there's tons of information out there.
Right. So in summary, I'm not going to summarize this again, but I'm going to say there's so much more we could talk about, and we'll talk about in the future about exercise. That is just like scratching a surface. And if anything, getting you more excited about it and encouraging and learning, like, yes, this totally helps. This will be beneficial to me. And it's fun when you actually start seeing results. Okay, one more small little tidbit, and then we'll sign off.
Yeah.
When when exercising, I hear this so many times. It's like, oh, I'm not losing any weight from this, or oh, like that's the biggest one, is I'm not losing weight from this, or it's not helping like I hope. It's helpful to match the expectations with what was realistic to happen. All right. Susan Pierce Thompson, in her book, Bright Lines Eating, she references a study that shows when you start exercising, you actually gain weight. The average is about 8 pounds. So, like, recognizing that's going to happen. And whether it's because you're exercising, your body's like, I need more energy, and you just eat it, that's fine, right? Usually it's going to come back off. But to recognize that, because some people are like, I'm gaining weight, I'm exercising. This isn't working. I'm scrapping it. You got to be careful with that, and just realize, why am I exercising? I'm exercising to enjoy being outside. I'm exercising to bring my blood sugar back down a little bit. I'm exercising to, energize my body. There's different ways and expectations that need to be realistic with exercise. But then you do it and you're like, oh, that felt so good. Or, oh, that's what I needed. And now you're getting that full realistic benefit from it, as opposed to exercising, step on a scale, and you're like, oh, I gained weight, and it's just the water you drink or something, right? Oh, this doesn't work. So that's one more little strategy and reminder I want to give you with exercise that I think is helpful. All right. Should we sign
Yeah.
off? Thank you for being here. We've enjoyed teaching about exercise. If you have any questions, let us know. What are you doing today for exercise? Let us know. And what are you going to experiment with? Let us know.
Yes. Thank you.